Hey guys, it's SomberShot001, back at it again with the video games, and back at it again with Destiny 2, and of course, we have a new trailer to break down, so it looks like the leaks were true about the name of this coming season, after Season of the Chosen. It is indeed called Season of the Splicer, but it is not what you think, which I'm glad. I'm happy that it's not a Siva themed season. I know a lot of people were looking forward to something like that. And of course, there was the whole fan teaser of the Season of the Plague that people were creating, which sounded interesting, but I felt like just introducing Siva wouldn't have been a great idea, at least for Destiny 2. At least right now, or at least reintroducing Siva. But with Season of the Splicer, it was not what I was expecting at all. I would say the only thing that I would say I expected was Mithrax to show up. And of course, Mithrax is a focus on this specific season. But what I didn't realize is that the villains are actually going to be the Vex, which in hindsight I probably should have thought of because of the Vault of Glass returning this season, which we'll talk about a little later. But of course, this trailer opens up with what is going to be the main inciting incident of the season, what is going to be the activities, of course. And that is the fact that in the story, the Vex have created some sort of simulation that has trapped the last city on Earth in a endless night, as they call it, which I guess somehow damages the Traveler. I don't know. We'll figure out over the next season. Basically, they deleted the sun. Um, they deleted the sun from what I think only the last city. I don't know if it's the whole world. I believe it's just the last city. And no one really knows how to break the simulation or how to work with the Vex tech. So Ikora and Osiris decide, hey, how about you go to Europa and you seek out Mithrax, an allied fallen who we've known for now a few years. He was introduced technically all the way back in the beginning of Destiny 2 with the first mission of the Rat King quest line, where he was the fallen captain that if you didn't kill, he would go away. He wouldn't attack you. And he eventually came back for the 0-hour secret mission, which is the mission for the Outbreak Perfected back in Season of the Drifter. And she was mentioned here and there by Varix during Beyond Light. Basically, he is now the Kell of the House of Light, which are they're like fallen that are trying to get closer to the Traveler, but not in an evil way. They're very nice. They're very willing to work with Guardians, which is interesting. And it turns out that Mithrax used to be a Splicer. He's the last sacred Splicer of the Fallen now. I believe Aramis, I don't know if this is certain. It's kind of a little bit of a headcanon thing, but I believe Aramis took out all of the Splicers, besides Atrax, because I think Atrax is considered a Splicer, if I believe not, because he's a fallen exo body that we eventually then murdered, but he also worked with Tanix, so I don't know if that's the case, but because she's not really into that self-modification thing, she wants to be about the darkness, well, because Aramis is dead. But, yeah, he's one of the last sacred splicers, and he, therefore, is the only one that knows how to hack Vex technology. So, more or less, the enticing part is we'll be entering the Vex neural network, which has been teased and mentioned so many times. We've never actually entered the Vex network itself, which is their collective consciousness. And we're going to go in there, we're going to take out what we can and find a way to free ourselves from this endless night, which I think is really cool and really interesting. It looks aesthetically is just amazing. You get like a very similar Vex kind of conflux feel throughout the thing, but it's very Tron-like, it's very neon, which I think is very interesting. Also, the Endless Night, from what we saw in the trailer, looks absolutely stunning, even though it's a bad thing in the terms of the story. But it's interesting, we see in the trailer, we see Mithrax, who's crash-landed a catch on Europa with a bunch of Fallen. We actually even see some cute little Fallen babies. that we I think is the first time we see grown fallen holding like these three little babies, and I don't care what people say, they are fucking adorable. I think they're cute, and so it's very interesting to see where it will go, and that will use Splicer technology to infiltrate the Vex network, and that will lead into the seasonal activity, which is a 6-player match made activity called not Expunge. It's not Expunge. I unfortunately cannot remember the name. Expunge is the other activity, which will be a weekly pinnacle activity, which I don't think will start immediately. I think it'll start like a couple weeks in. Similar to Harbinger and Presage quest, so I don't know if there's an exotic tied to it or something like that. I'll be very interested to see if there is. But yeah, there'll be this 6-player match made activity, and you'll basically hack the Vex network and enter, kill the boss. We also find out we're going to get some more stasis aspects, which will be coming with season of the Splicer. I believe we actually see one towards the end of the trailer where it looks like someone drops a Valkyrie, more or less, but it's like a stasis Valkyrie kind of feel. At least it's the same animation. It's like a stasis lance, which I think is very interesting. And speaking of stasis, we'll also be getting a new exotic weapon that is going to be a stasis elemental weapon called, and bear with me with the name of this, Cryosthesia 77K, I believe is what it's called, and it's an exotic sidearm. And from what it looks like you have to build up kills, and then you do the reload animation like you would do for, say, Symmetry or Traveler's Chosen, where you get kills and then you charge it up and you change it, and then it'll do a special firing mechanism that will freeze your opponent. They also tease some exotic armor on the website, which I unfortunately can't remember the names of, but I do remember what they do. I do know for the hunters, I think it was called Light. Is either Light Eater Scales or something like that. I can't remember. Like I said, I can't remember the names. But for the hunters, I also believe they're all boots. For the hunters, these boots will allow you to take orbs of power, and which you can normally do that. Build up your super, build up your super at greater amounts, and it will cause your super to be more potent. Which we'll have to see to believe when we get the armor and see how good it is. For the Titans, which I think is also very interesting, it was called, it had something to do with, it was the Burning Steps, I believe was what it was called. And more or less, it's executions with solar, I'm not sure if it's solar damage or solar abilities will, I think are just greater, like they're just increased. I can't remember, I'm very sorry. The main thing I remember about these is it's harder for you to get frozen by stasis when you're wearing these, which is a very interesting idea. And then the Warlocks, which I think might be the best, is the fact that either your Healing Rift or your Empowering Rift, when you're wearing these boots, will then turn into projectiles that'll seek out allies and bless them. Very similar to Lumina, what the Lumina weapon does. Because I believe they call it a Noble Blessing, so I'm not sure if that's what the name of the buff will be, kind of similar to the Noble Rounds from the Lumina exotic hand cannon. That would be very interesting. I can see a lot of potential builds with Lumina in this, which will be really cool to see, considering that Lumina is not really used that often anymore. It'll be very interesting to see where that goes. We'll also get a new area in the helm, so the helm will still remain. And there'll be a new area that looks to have a Servitor Gladys Portal 2 type thing going on. And that's where you're going to get your Splicer tech. I believe it also gets Splicer keys for your weekly pinnacle activities. That's how you enter it. From there, we also get the what I believe is the seasonal artifact, which is a Splicer gauntlet. It's basically just like an outline, like apparatus for like a fallen hand that you can stick in. I don't know if that's the artifact or if it's a specific lure, or if it's like, something like the lure from Season of the Hunt. I have no idea. Or the Hammer of Proving, I guess, would be a more apt description. But it seems very interesting. with all of that. I'm very interested to see where the story goes in terms of this. I mean, and what exotics we could possibly get. Will we get 2 new exotics again like we did last season? Or last season, well, this current season, season of Chosen, where we got, your seasonal exotic, which was Tiku's, not Revelation, I'm so sorry, Tiku's Divination and Dead Man's Tale. I'm wondering if it's going to be the same thing with this season, where we have Cryosthesia 77k and whatever the other exotic will be, because they do say there's multiple exotics. So we'll see what we'll get for a weapon, or maybe it's returning. Of course, the Vault of Glass is coming, which is going to be a very, very big deal. And from what they said, I believe they're not explaining why it's back, because I do remember that was the original conceit of the Destiny content vault, was that the stuff they were bringing back will have a place in the story, and they said it just didn't fit well with this season, so it's not. And I feel like it was the same thing with the Cosmodrome, where they didn't explain why Sepix Prime was back, or the Fallen Saber. I believe they did with the Omnigul thing, where they just changed it to Navoda and they just made it part of the new light experiences. So that's really the only reason. But I think that's the only strike that was brought back where they explained that. But I believe these are just going to be more of a time capsule kind of idea. They also show some weapons. They show some raid stuff that we're going to be getting, like a raid jacket, which looks amazing, a raid ring, which looks really cool, which I believe is either the symbol of the Vault of Glass, or it's the Aegis, the shield that you use in the Vault of Glass. And there's going to be a new seal called Fate Breaker, which obviously is a reference to Fate Bringer. Hopefully, maybe we'll see Fate Bringer return in this raid. It would be very interesting. Will there be a raid exotic? I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see, but who knows? And that's really all we know right now about Season of the Splicer. It's seems like it's very interesting. I'm interested to see where it will go, and what it will entail, considering that it's lasting until late August, which is insane. And I believe by then that's when they're going to reveal stuff about the Witch Queen. Will be in late summer of this year. My guess is they're going to pull a Season of the Arrivals, and they're just not going to announce Season 15 until they announce more about the Witch Queen. Which, in that case, that'll be very interesting. I'll prefer that. But we'll see how this season is. Season of the Chosen was great. It was way better than Season of the Hunt. It was really good. The storytelling was fantastic, and I'm excited to see where we can jump off from this point. Hopefully it'll be a similar experience in terms of just overall positive reception. So it'll be interesting to see. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. What are your feelings on this reveal of Season of the Splicers? How do you feel about the inclusion of the Vex or Mithrax? Do you feel like there should be more? Do you feel like it was a little bit of a letdown? What are your theories? Anyway, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and apagando las luces.